What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Itz-Beez-Da, TrackStar, and welcome back to Dancehall Masterclass, episode 2 or episode 3, unofficially. So in the last episode or so, or the last video, we basically constructed this chord progression here from scratch. Of course, tempo 98, and the key is, I believe, E minor. Or no, it's E major is the key for this progression. So I'll give you a quick preview of it. Cool. So we're going to expand on this progression now and how we could possibly manipulate this progression in this video. And that's why this video is titled Basic Chord Structure Explained, or Continue the Work, because we are going to continue on it. And basically what I'm getting at is that in the modern dancehall space, a lot of melodies are basically just plucks played in like a staccato style. Is just you just play it. It's not sustained. It's just hits every now and then, and it's very easy to do that. And it's even easier to do it if you capture the progression first and then manipulate it to get a pluck out of it. So let me get a synth from Spire, or not Spire, from Expand, and I'm just going to load up something very simple. Just a polysynth, something that kind of fits with what we are doing. So I'm going to copy this pattern and paste it here. Let's lower the volume down and let's find a good sound. Okay, that's fine. It doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to capture the idea that we are trying to get across. So let's get the progression back into the piano. So the two sounds layered together we have. No, very emotional sounding melody. They're very nice, very cool. It's very laid back. So let's now break this down. So there are a couple different ways that we can take this melody, and I'll elaborate on one way in the next video. But for now, let's take this melody down more of a strummed, like just quick hits, like I said, like a staccato style pattern. And the easiest way to do that is basically, now we're about to introduce a little bit of mat, not a lot. So remember, in between the notes earlier, we had 3 spaces and 2 spaces here. So we are going to kind of think of it like that in a same sense. So in between all of these, let's just copy this across and put 2 spaces between each of these, right? But I want you to think of it like we're putting 2 spaces in between, but this is the third note from the first one. So if this is the first note, then we have 1, 2, 3 notes later, 2 spaces between, and we can relate that to the progression behind. You know what I mean? Just a little bit of a similarity, just to kind of help you get what I'm getting at. So now if we play this, let's solo this out. Cool, we have a simple melody that follows the progression easily. Now we can add our own spin, our own flavor to that very, very simply, just by adding extra notes here and there, just a little bit of ear candy all over the place. So let's say we have these 2 here. We could add a note here. Let's add another note here. Okay, let's add a progression, like a chord here. And then if we play it together, You know what I mean? And basically we just created a whole separate melody just from messing around with stuff. And we haven't done anything special. This is just basic stuff. Create a chord progression. Then you manipulate that progression just simply by chopping it up and moving notes around. There is another way we could have went about this. We could have just did kind of like a staggered progression where it's, okay, this note played when it is going to play again, basically. So let's listen. You know what I mean? So it kind of builds this anticipation. Instead of having the notes here, you put it 6 notes ahead. So 3 and then 3. You know what I mean? And it builds this anticipation. So what we could do is we could have this here, and then we could duplicate this, bring it across, and have this progression again. But this time on this side, we have the progression playing more of a delayed pattern. So it's not as predictable. And then we just have the chord progression from the piano still playing in the background. You know what I mean? Just simple as that. And together, nice. And the last thing I want to touch on in this video is basically adding realism to your pianos. This is something that I am doing a lot more nowadays. I never really used to do this or pay too much attention to it, but lately I've been making a lot of R&B-ish soft tracks, and it's like it's very important. And that's adding velocity to kind of de-robotize your melodies. Basically, what I mean by de-robotize is with all the velocities up like that, it just seems as if it's robotic. It's just constant. There's no errors. But in the real world, humans make errors all the time. So one way that we could address that, and I'll go a lot more in depth on this in the next video, is basically in FL Studio, if you press Alt and R, you bring up the randomizer. And what this does, it allows you to manipulate velocity. So if I increase this velocity here and just press accept and then lower, wait, let's highlight everything and lower the velocity so it lines up with the grid. The highest peak is right here. So let's line up the highest peak right here. Now, if we play the piano by itself, we have much more of a real feeling to the piano, as opposed to playing the piano by having all the notes at the same level. We don't have that realism anymore. You know, nothing is soft, nothing is just, you know, little feeling in there, and that's basically just a little trick. Like I said, you press Alt and R and you just manipulate the levels until you get to something that you like. So I like the levels that we got, so I am going to keep that, and in the next video we'll kind of expand a little bit more on other stuff that you could do to, you know, kind of humanize your melodies. So until next time, it's your boy Itz-Beez, the TrackStar. Peace.